Hey guys, I'm Pixel Dan, and this is a review of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1/6 scale Donatello figure from Mondo. That's right, the second figure is finally here after what seems like forever. We pre-ordered this guy a long time ago, I think a good year ago now, but Donatello is finally here. This is the second figure in the lineup. I've already taken a look at Leonardo, so if you missed that one, make sure you jump back and take a look at that as well. But let's go ahead and dive right in and check out this brand new Donnie action figure. As you can see, it comes in this beautiful large box that's got this great kind of purple motif there, perfect for the signature color of Donatello, and it does have this gorgeous artwork right here on the front of the box of Donatello jumping into action with his bow staff. It's got the more modern Ninja Turtles logo at the top, which of course it has to, because that's the modern branding for the license. And then you'll also notice that I have the Mondo exclusive version, which is signified by this very cool little sticker right here on the front of the box. As we rotate this around to the back, we have that same gorgeous artwork we saw in the back of the Leo box, but I absolutely love beautiful artwork by Jason Edmiston. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. It's right here on the bottom of the corner though, so proper credit is given, and it's just absolutely gorgeous artwork depicting the four turtles in their classic comic book red bandanas diving from the rooftops into action. I love this piece of art. So the box itself is also really nicely made. It's got this very cool Velcro flap on the front, so if we open that up, we actually get a look at the Donatello figure within. And over here on the flap, we've got some great kind of concept art of the action figure and his accessories. And then we can see Donatello along with some of his cool accessories like an Utrom, the baby turtle, the alternate heads. So very cool stuff within the packaging. So let's go ahead and get this guy pulled out of the box so we can get a closer look at the figure. Alright, so Donatello is outside of the package, so we can start taking a closer look at him. So these figures are in the 1/6 scale, and the turtles here stand right at about 10 inches tall. That's actually perfect because normal 1/6 figures are around 12 inches, but the turtles are supposed to be shorter than a standard human, so the scale actually works out perfectly. As you can see, the overall styling of these is a bit unique, but is very reminiscent of the classic looks from original comic books, which is part of the draw of these for me. This is why I was drawn to them. And I think the overall sculpting and the paint deco has been really great on these, and Donatello here really looks to be another very nicely done figure. So let's go ahead and get a closer look at just the overall details here. First of all, he does have a darker skin tone than we saw with Leonardo. His was much more bright green. This one's kind of more of that darker green tone, and I really like that. I'm glad that they're going to have differing skin tones to kind of help differentiate them a little bit. You can see he does have that very classic inspired head, almost very comic book looking. Leo's have the gritting teeth, while Donnie just kind of has the closed mouth there. But you can see this head right here features the bright purple bandana seen in the original cartoon, as well as pretty much everything ever since the original comics. We do have the ability to swap that out for a head with the red bandana if we prefer that classic comic book display. So before we go any further, let me go ahead and show you that. It's actually pretty easy to pop the head off of the ball joint there, and in its place we can pop the red one on. Now, when I reviewed Leo, one of my issues was that it was really hard to actually get the alternate head put on. It seems like Mondo has fixed this because this head goes on and off the figure just as easy as the purple one. Now, I will say it's a bit strange because the way the ball joint is designed, they never really feel like they snap on into place. I mean, they fit on there snug, they're not loose, they're easy to articulate, except every time you move them, they are going to pop right off. And I think that's just the way it's designed. And like I said, it's not causing any problems because it's not like it's loose or falling off, but it's a bit weird because you expect it to kind of snap on and it just doesn't really do that. But putting on the alternate head is still very nice and kind of gives you the option to display him with a very classic comic book look with that red bandana, which I really like. The little pieces hanging off the back of his bandana are kind of pointing more upwards with Donnie on both heads there. You can see almost like they're kind of blowing upwards, but very nice, and I love the ability to swap those in and out. So the overall rest of the sculpt is still very good all the way through. The body does seem to resemble what we saw with Leonardo's. A bit different, of course. The belt on this one doesn't have the straps going over the shoulders. Instead, it's just the single belt going around the waist, which wraps around to the little holster for his bow staff. And we'll take a closer look at the weapon here in just a bit, but you can see it holsters just fine. Also, this doesn't feel brittle. One of my complaints again with Leo was that his belt was very brittle, and as a result, it was broken. It looks like they've made the belt of a different material this time around, so it's not going to snap. So kudos to Mondo for fixing this as well. The shell is a great design, has some nice kind of scrapes and dings in it there. Great kind of wash on there, really gives it that gritty look. And the overall figure kind of has that same wash going on. Again, giving it that very gritty old comic book feel. And I just absolutely love the overall design of these guys. So, before we talk about all of the accessories this guy comes with, because he has a lot, we're going to run down the articulation on him. So I already showed you with that head. It's basically a ball joint because it just rolls all the way around. Like I said, pretty much anytime you pose this guy, the head's going to pop off. But it's easy just to pop it on to whichever position you want him in, and he'll display just fine. You do have ball joints at the shoulder, so the arms can go up, forwards, and backwards. We've got swivels at the bicep, as well as the nice swivels at the elbow and an elbow bend. We've got swivels at the wrists, and we have hinge joints so the hands can move up and down. The torso does not appear to have any articulation there. That happens a lot with Turtles figures because of the shell design. He does have ball joints at the thighs so the legs can pose around. However, I will note that the sculpt of the shell is definitely going to hinder that movement a bit because of the sculpt of the legs. They don't move out very far actually at all. But you can still swivel at that ball joint there as well. You do have great double joints at the knees, which is really nice on either side of the little knee pad there. So very, very cool. There's no swivel. I kind of wish there was a bit of a swivel at the knee too, just so we can get a little bit of more variance in his stances with his legs, but otherwise it's still very, very nice. And it's kind of got that ratchet going on there, so it really kind of clicks in place pretty good. And then with the ankles, you can see you can move the ankles up and down, as well as kind of rock them side to side. So overall, we do have some really nice articulation with these guys, and the figure feels good and solid. I mean, he's hefty. All of the articulation feels good and solid, and this allows you to pose him around and get some great poses. There's no loose joints on this guy, which I really, really appreciate. So, he does come with other interchangeable pieces besides just that head. He's got some interchangeable hands. First of all, just like we saw with Leo, he's got the pair of hands that kind of have the little spikes on the palms, which is like, you know, scaling buildings and such like that. Very easy to swap out the hands. They are just on peg joints, and you can see they pop out of socket very easy, and the new ones pop right there in place, and that way you can alter the way that you pose the figure if you want to. Also, with Donatello, he does get his own little unique kind of characteristic-like hand. Leonardo came with a finger-pointing hand, you know, because he's the leader. Donatello comes with a thumbs-up hand for the right hand, you know, the affirming thumbs up. Like, we are good to go. So, pretty cool stuff, and, you know, can add a little bit of character to your overall figure display. So, I do like those quite a bit, and they function very, very well. So, on to the accessories, because Donnie comes with a bunch of stuff, which is one place I think Mondo is really excelling with these guys, giving them lots of accessories. So we'll start with that bow staff. It's a pretty tight fit on the back there, so you want to kind of twist that around and get the bow staff pulled out of his belt if you want to do this. There we go, got him out. So worth noting, the bow staff is actually made of a pliable plastic. Now, again, I think this is Mondo's answer to some of the brittle issues that was with Leonardo, because all of his stuff was very, very brittle. So Donnie does have a more flexible bow staff. It's not too gummy. There's going to be a little bit of warping though as a result, but it should be pretty easy to kind of straighten that out. Still has a great wood grain look to it with the wraps on there, and because of the softer nature of it, it's actually very easy to put it in the figure's hands, which again, the katanas were a little stiff and hard to get into Leo's hands. Donnie's bow staff is much easier to do so. The only downside, like I said, it looks like it's a little warped sometimes in different poses, but overall, I do appreciate that it doesn't feel like it's going to break or snap when I'm placing it in the figure's hands. And you can get great two-handed poses with it. You can pull off some really nice poses with him wielding his bow staff, which is very, very cool and always essential with a Donatello action figure. He does include a few other accessories in addition to that. Just like with Leo, we get 4 different ninja stars, 2 with 8 points and 2 with 4 points. These are nicely detailed. They got some great metallic silvers on there, and crazy enough, the figure can hold onto these perfectly between his index finger and thumbs on both hands. So you can actually get him holding onto the ninja stars, which is something that Turtles figures always have a hard time doing. So I like that he can actually hold onto those particular accessories. Another accessory that he shares with Leo is the Utrom Blaster, just like the one that was with Leo. This time around, it feels like it's made of a bit of a softer plastic, but not too gummy. Actually fits into the figure's hands perfectly, so that way you can display Donnie holding onto that blaster. And then we get some fun other little additions. So first of all, again, another thing we've already seen, but I want all 4 of them to come with it, so I'm glad. We have the baby Donatello, so it's just a baby turtle there. Great paint deco, it's solid, there's no articulation, but I always love having this as a display piece. And then one of my favorite things is the little Utrom Commander. This guy is incredible. Really, really great paint deco on this guy that makes him look shiny and kind of slimy. Got that great pink and purple kind of coloration there, and got that very comic book look to him. Yes, it's Utrom, which is what the names were in the original comics. I know nowadays we kind of more refer to the Utrom as the Krang, not just one Krang guy, so whatever you want to call him, but an Utrom Commander is included, and he is a wonderful addition to this particular set. And then lastly, if you got the Mondo exclusive like I did, you also get Donatello's anti-gravity gun. Now this is a contraption that comes straight out of the original comics. So this is a really cool inclusion for fans of those original books. Now this is made of a very, very gummy plastic. You can see it's soft and squishy, and as a result, the little black wash on there is actually kind of sticky. So that's a bummer. The paint on this is very, very sticky. So at first I was a little disappointed, but I think I understand why they had to go with this gummy plastic. In order to get this on the figure, it has to be this soft. So I'm going to show you guys the best way I found to actually attach this to the figure's hand. First, let's go ahead and just pop his hand off the figure, because that seems to work better. There's actually a little handle here that can be removed. You can pull that right out of the socket there. And then we're going to actually bend this around Donnie's fist. So just like that. Then we can reattach the handle through the little hole there, right there into Donnie's hand, which is perfect. So now all we've got to do is make sure that the peg, actually, the wrist peg, is inside the gun, and then we can pop this back onto the figure, and boom, just like that, we can now recreate classic comic book scenes with Donatello with the anti-gravity gun. In fact, this is a perfect one to display that red bandana with, right? Get the red bandana on there, display the anti-gravity gun. It's a very, very fun accessory. So there you guys go. There is a look at the 1/6 scale Donatello figure from Mondo. So I'll be perfectly honest, I have some mixed feelings about this particular figure. But let's start with the positives. I do still really like the sculpt, and on mine, I think the paint job is pretty good. So the overall look of the figure is still very nice. And I will still reiterate that I feel like there are some improvements from the Leonardo figure, which I had a ton of problems with. I appreciate that the belt is made of a softer plastic, as well as the weapons, so none of them feel brittle or like they are gonna break. And both of the heads in my particular set go on and off fairly easy. I don't really like that they pop off the neck peg when I'm just trying to pose it, but at least I don't have a problem putting on the head with the red bandana like I did with the Leo figure. However, with all that being said, I've already seen a lot of people reporting a ton of problems with these, and I still have some minor quibbles with mine as well. I don't really like that it's hard to pose the legs because those hip joints are either just not functioning the way they're supposed to, or they're very hindered by the sculpt of the overall figure, and I really don't like that tacky paint job on the bonus accessory. And at the end of the day, while this is a pretty decent action figure, it really doesn't feel like it's worth the $160 that I paid for it. Yeah, it's a very expensive figure. It's meant to be a high-end figure, and honestly, it's got great accessories, it's got a cool sculpt, it just doesn't feel like it's worth the asking price. So like I said, I have mixed feelings on the overall product. I really hope that when Mikey and Raph show up, they're even better. I really want Mondo to kind of keep tweaking these and make them as perfect as possible, especially since we're paying so much for them. So the exclusive version that I reviewed here today is long sold out, but you can probably still find the basic version, which just doesn't include that anti-gravity gauntlet, at several online retailers. So happy hunting, my friends. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button, leave me a comment down below, let me know what you think, and don't forget to subscribe for more content just like this. Until next time, my friends.